I seemed to go. Would I ever stop? Nobody knows. I was spinning on an endless carousel, in a state of shock. Then there was a way you repaid me, knowing that a song could save me. And love's a melody you gave me. Just when I hit the wall, about to fall down on my knees, you bring the spark to light, the fire deep inside of me. Something about you, can't live without you. Got my heart in your hands, you're my reason to believe. I thought that I'd be better off alone. I could handle anything, so proud and wrong. Then I found that loneliness was way too strong. But I couldn't stop till you came along to remind me. Loneliness and pride could only blind me. Just when I hit the wall, about to fall down on my knees, you bring the spark to light, the fire deep inside of me. Something about you, can't live without you. Got my heart in your hands, you're my reason to believe. Just when I hit the wall, about to fall down on my knees, you bring the spark to light, the fire deep inside of me. Something about you, can't live without you. Got my heart in your hands, you're my reason to be. Just when I hit the wall, about to fall down on my knees, you bring the spark to light, the fire deep inside of me. Something about you, baby, can't live without you. You're my reason to believe. Just when I hit the wall, you're my reason, my only reason to believe inside of me. Something about you, can't live without you. Got my heart in your hands, you're my reason to believe.
All right, this is the Nothing Sacred interview. I am Cruise Control,
And I'm Maxwell Silverhammer.
and
And
this we're all
We're
excited about
fucking
here.
up already, hey.
Hey, we already. Hey, that's what we do here.
Well,
We've got.
that's because I'm the third guy. I'm going to just
Yes.
bring all the fuck-ups with me. And
We-
and I can guess who I can blame them on.
We
You
are
guys.
here with Bill Champlin.
Bill
and if you
Champlin.
do not know who Bill Champlin is, you should. That song you just listened to was Reason to Believe off his new album. Just released, what, 2 days ago, something like that?
2 or 3 days ago in digitally, we've been doing the Imagine Records is doing the digital release in all the places. You know, they're everywhere. The iTunes, the whole nine. Any place you can find digital music, you find it there.
And that's
And,
called
and then
Livin For Love.
Livin For Love, and I'm doing the physical release of the CD at BillChamplin.com.
Awesome.
Oh,
And
nice.
let me just tell you guys, like I said, if you don't know who Bill Champlin is, you should, because
You're under a rock, man.
or actually you do, you just don't realize that you do.
Yeah.
You know, Donna Summer one time said, "Bill, you're the best known unknown singer in the world." I said,
Well, I got a story to tell you
thanks,
guys.
Donna. I think.
I got a story to tell you guys in just a second, because I this is kind of like serendipity, but a real quick story. But first of all, Bill has been around for 50 years in the business. He started off with his first band was in high school.
Actually, I have a question about that too, man. The opposite six, is that now what's known as the Sons of Champlin?
Well, it ended up becoming a Sons of Champlin
Yes.
after the draft didn't kill, but when the draft was going to during Vietnam War, when the draft was going, if you allowed yourself to get drafted, you would be in the front line in a foxhole and called a grunt. That's basically if you let yourself be drafted, and it was 2 years. If you joined for 3 years, you could become part of the band, you could kind of choose something that isn't quite the bullseye that the draft was. So a lot of the guys that I was playing with in the opposite six ended up going into the Army band and microwave radio stuff and different things like that, just to not be the badass target that the draftees were the guys that really they were the cannon fodder in that war. That was a fun little police action, wasn't it?
Yeah. I love the opposite six. I love that. And I'm sure in high school that went over like a lead balloon.
I'm telling you. But I'm going to go really left with you. When we did the Sons, we originally named it the Master Beats.
Oh wow!
and at College of Marin, which was where we went to, we called it MIT, Marin Institute of Tomfoolery. But we went to have a gig. They said, "You got to call it something other than this. I got what you guys are trying to pull off, and it's not going to happen." You think you're trying to sneak some shit past me? What are you doing? And somebody said, at the time I was already married and had a kid. So, and they were jokingly calling me Father Champlin at that time. I mean, I was literally 17 years old. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I was married really young and decided to try to live out the lyrics of a Chuck Berry song, kind of how it came down. So Brad was born in like 65. And
which one, the Ding-a-ling?
Yeah, no, any one of them, and that one too, for the most part. So the guy said, "Why don't we just call it Sons of Champlin?" And they did, and the thing stuck. I mean, wow. It's kind of a dumb band name, but in some ways, when I did bail on it and move to LA, I had a little bit of visibility, so I was able to get a little bit of work, and I kind of worked, parlayed that into more and more work.
Yeah, and that's kind of where you went, like in the 70s. You went to like a lot of session work, which is interesting, because I don't even know if do they even have session musicians anymore?
Well, yeah, they do. I mean, there are people that are making records. It's just a little harder to do. I heard a story where Vinnie Colaiuta was doing a session, but they took away everybody's cell phone and keys away before you walked into the studio. Mm-hmm. Studio was filled with plexiglass, and he had to play the drums in an ISO booth all day with a mask on.
Was that due to COVID?
Yeah. California's taking it maybe more seriously than they should. I mean, I think the word just came out. People have been trying to recall the governor, and I think and mostly because of that, because he just shut everything down.
Yeah,
every business was going belly up. It was just getting ugly. So a recall thing going, and well over 1 million votes. I'm thinking they need 1 million signatures, 1.6 million signatures to take him out. Yeah. So I think he just tried to stop that momentum at some level by saying, "Okay, everybody, let's open up. It's time to open up." I mean, there is a vaccine. It's taken a while to get to everybody, but I think in some period of time, we're going to maybe actually even have, get this, live music.
What?
Oh God!
Damn!
I'm in a band right now that's playing on live streams on the week. I'm in a musical improv comedy group called Earthly Music.
Oh, cool.
But we are dying to get back on, because we want to be live, because we want to get suggestions from the audience. Now we're getting it through the internet, and and also just
it's just not the same.
Yeah,
it's just not the same on a couple levels. First of all, you don't get the feedback from the audience. Mm-hmm. Second of all, you don't get the feedback from the guys that are on the stage with you.
Yeah.
No.
I don't play better. If the guitar player is playing in a house across town in a different zip code,
Yeah.
and he does a really good solo, it doesn't affect me at the level that it does when I'm on the same stage with him.
Yeah, or if you just even if you just can't get the feedback from the audience and actual like laughing or clapping or anything, you're like you're hoping that they're laughing at their homes while they're watching you online. So
they're probably saying, "Look at the guy's zipper's down."
Well, there's kind of shit like that.
And I kind of, it just drives me crazy seeing the squares and everybody's in the square. I keep expecting to hear, "Here's a story about a man named Brady."
Well, your
looks like the Brady Bunch.
Your boy Santa Fe.
I shouldn't knock it out. I mean, Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns.
They're doing that. Yeah.
They're doing a live thing every 2 weeks, and it's slamming like a dog.
Yeah.
But I've seen them play to an audience, and it's different. The music is just as good.
It's just different. And I do a lot of improvised performance. It's just such a different vibe just having an audience in front of you. Yeah. Especially, I'm my eyesight issue. That's my eyesight issue. So when you can get that vibe and you can hear people reacting to your music or just whatever you're doing, it's pretty amazing. I have a question about your session work though. Like, I mean, there's a lot of horror stories from these expose movies and videos and stuff like
Most
that.
Most of them bullshit, but go ahead.
Yeah, about how they treat the session musicians like shit, like all the stars do and stuff like that. Like, did they just like give you a sheet of shit stuff to sing or to play, and then like say play that, just play that, or was there more? Did it depend on the musician for like more creative input or?
Well, I'd heard that story, and I was kind of scared of doing that thing. But in the era that I came in to move from San Francisco Bay Area down here to Los Angeles was in '77. I had a record deal already, and I got David Foster to be, it was really early in his production career. I got him to produce it. We couldn't really do it for a little while, and I started doing dates. But this was when West Coast music was starting to kick in. And then you had Toto, you had Earth, Wind and Fire, you had Steely Dan. There was a whole other move going on, and I think a lot of producers who normally would say, play what I tell you to play and then get the hell out. It was kind of, well, what should I do here? So I kind of got in a really, really great time when the players were being asked, what should we do here? So
you were a consultant almost, huh?
Not really that, but I was a vocal arranger, I mean, I kind of came up with some parts. I mean, there were some records where they'd say, hey, man, we got this one section. Can you come up with something for it? And I went, yeah, okay. We'd come up with, had my singers sing it, the people that I was singing with. And then I realized I just wrote the guy as chorus.
Shit. Wow.
Wow. I wasn't really planning on doing that. Somebody was telling me in Nashville, the singers say 1/3, no, 1 word, 1/3. I don't like that either, but it was, it was getting a little crazy. I was just writing every session I went on at some level. Not all of them, but I mean, some of them were really just great. But I think at one point of the game, I just went, I'm just going to try to take the best things. I kicked up the double scale, which all the players were getting, but the singers weren't. And I was the first guy to really take it up to double scale. At the time, the guys I had singing with me was Michael McDonald and Bobby Kimball. Good time to make that move.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mac,
very good time to make that move. So, and all of a sudden, for a minute, the phone calls kind of slowed down. All of a sudden, they just went through the roof. And it was mostly, and then all of a sudden I was getting calls from real records really well-established artists from, hell, I worked on a Barbra Streisand record.
Hey, Max, did you know, and our audience out there, did you know that we have a multiple Grammy winning artist?
On Nothing Sacred.
On Nothing Sacred. Doubt. And not just for like some songs, like obviously you might know him for the songs in Chicago, but in '80, After the Love Has Gone by Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yep. And also, Turn Your Love Around by George Benson.
Which is an amazing song, which was written with Steve Lukather. And this is my story. I got to get to this. I got to say this because I was about 6 months. I call it serendipity. About 6 months ago, I was helping.
I used to play gigs with her.
Oh, she's a fickle bitch, isn't she?
Anyway. Yeah, she played a good alto solo. Had quite the embouchure.
She did. It was great sax, right?
No sax before a fight. Remember that?
Exactly. So anyway, I'm trying to find. I'm doing this little thing for my brother's 50th birthday, where I'm doing a Casey Kasem top 40 song thing. So I'm looking up Casey Kasem's to get the intro to his stuff. So I start listening to the 1983 Top 100. first of all, just amazing difference in the music quality and just the variance of music that then as of today, just a complete 180 from the way it is now. But I hear the song, there's no way to turn back now by Toto. You know, it was like in the 90s or something like that. So I start
the ballad that Steve sang.
Yes.
You know, he asked me to come write it with him, and I forgot to call him.
Wow.
Oh, shit. He dropped the ball.
Missed it by that much.
That's the one he bit there. You know, there's
he did.
nothing that turning back now.
Yeah, he did a fine job on the lyrics.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well,
was I kicking myself?
Wow.
I was, well, God, Bill, what's wrong with you?
Exactly.
I forgot to call him back. You know,
shoot, and less than a third. You know, it could have been a third Grammy. God,
yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm getting into Toto. I'm like, holy crap, they are really, 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 really good. I wasn't really into them when I was a kid.
They're still really, really
good. Toto 14.
No
Toto
matter
14.
What, yeah, no matter what they're doing, they're screaming, man. They're insane.
So I'm you know, Max tells me, yeah, we got this interview with Bill Champlin. I'm like, oh, okay, this is amazing. So I start listening to your stuff, and I listen to the CWF collaboration you have.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I hear Runaway Dancer, which is an amazing song.
Thank you.
Song is just a really rocking song. And I'm like, holy shit, this sounds just like Toto 14. And I look at Joseph Williams, and I'm like,
Joe and I were singing together in that band for a couple of albums.
Yeah. So
and I'm pretty sure Runaway Dancer, I think my wife Tamara and I were writers on this song.
Yeah, because I know you had that, because that's what I looked up. I looked up your stuff on Spotify, and I saw you had that collaboration with him. I'm like, holy shit, I love that album. Toto 14 is a great album. Really good.
Yeah, Toto anything is great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even when people say, oh, man, that's nowhere near as good as this or that. It's all great.
Yeah, they are amazing in my opinion.
Yeah,
so
they've always been, you know, they just piss me off.
So they
just make everybody sound so amateur.
Right.
So good, and they've got so much good music. Yeah. And they're just creative, really highly creative people. David Page is one of the most creative people on the
really, really amazing. And they have great interviews with this guy named Professor of Rock, who's on YouTube, who does a lot of these interviews about specific songs. Cool. So I'm listening to an interview about Kyrie Eleison by Mr. Mister. I'm like, I want to hear about this song. And the lead singer of that group is a guy named Richard Page, who did backup session work in the 70s. And and he goes, yeah, I was working with Bill Champlin on Kenny Law. And I'm like, what? Like, are you everywhere, Bill? Are you everywhere? Were you everywhere? Was everyone everywhere at the same time in the 70s?
Me and Richard are pals. We've been working together off and on for years. And we've been on the phone lately talking about doing something else together.
Yeah, so it's just amazing how much and that's why I say, if you don't know Bill Champlin, yes, you do. You do know Bill Champlin.
Yeah. It's like what Donna said, the best known unknown singer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And somebody said, hey, man, you know, you ever do any blues? I said, you ever watch television?
Yeah.
I sang In the Heat of the Night. Is that bluesy enough for you?
Well, your new album has some bluesy stuff on it.
Yeah, you did a lot of blues on this new one, man.
The title song, Livin For Love, I mean, when I played it for the guy who played drums on it and the guy who mixed the records, the same guy. Alan Hertz, he's one of the most talented people I've ever met. Yeah. He also plays drums with the Sons. But I get him to play drums on a lot of stuff, and then I have him mix it. It's like a one-stop shop, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like buying, you know, going to buy guns and alcohol in the same store.
Right. All one stop. It's the
Walmart.
One-stop
shop at the Walmart.
The Walmart of music, you know,
kind
exactly.
of thing.
It must have been amazing, though, just being around that time and when music
being part of all that
seemed. I just listened, like I said, I listened to that top 100 from '83, and it just blew me away.
A lot of good stuff in that.
The variety of music that was allowed to be played on every station back then. Because that was when, if you had a pop station, they played rock, they played R&B. You didn't have like these specific niche channels as much. You had more a channel that would play, you know, Chicago and then Aerosmith, you know.
Yeah.
Right. It would jump around a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the other thing I've noticed, especially with today's music, is, you know, when you guys were doing music, even though you may have been using a lot of drugs, we didn't know. You know, we would have thought, oh, those guys are sober. But now you listen to music, and they don't even hide their drug use, man. I mean, they sound drugged up, and you're just like, shit. Like, especially a lot of the new hip-hop. You know, these guys sound like
I mean, the hip-hop thing is supposed – I mean, I'm sure there's guys in there that just came out of Bible school. And hey, man, you got to sound like you got a bad attitude. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard a rumor, and this isn't really. It was just a rumor, so I can't say it's true. But I think they were trying to go after John Bon Jovi years ago with a fake paternity suit.
Oh.
Just to muddy up his reputation a little bit. I mean, he was married to his high school girlfriend. He's straight ahead guy, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's never been that kind of a guy that goes out looking for babes after each gig and stuff like that. I mean, that I know of or anything like that. But I think their handlers or whatever, they wanted to try to make it look somehow like it was going on. Now, when that was a suggestion, I think John said no.
So they wanted to pull it like a publicity stunt kind of thing.
Yeah, they wanted to make it sort of a publicity stunt. Say we can if you get a little bad press, we'll sell more records. Because you're doing it. It's rock and roll bad boy stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like the John Lennon song. Hey, Junior, behave yourself. I just heard that yesterday. The Bad Boy. It's like, I don't think it was his song, but God, what a funny song! It was great. Hey, Junior, behave yourself.
Well, speaking of that, you went to rehab for a minute, didn't you? Like in the 80s.
85, I went in and was right on the heels of the Chicago 17 tour. And I was just weary and I didn't want to do it anymore. And I was having trouble not doing it. And I just went, hey, I really need some help. And then Tamara's older brother, who had been in Hazelden Treatment Center in Minnesota, called up over there and he got me as it were a bed, as you say. And I was going, oh man, I kept thinking, oh, this is going to be like Jack Nicholson in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, walking around. Oh wait, I'm late for my, for my shock treatments or some craziness,
Right.
And I got there, it was just cool. It was just, met a whole bunch of really great people, and I felt really safe, from myself. And I haven't had a drink since 1985.
Damn,
Wow.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Congrats on the sobriety. I wish I could do it.
Yeah. Well, I think, somebody was saying once, it's God gives you a quota, and however old you are, when you hit it, good time to stop, because once you're going past your quota, you reach a certain, reach a point where it starts not working for you. It starts working against you.
Yeah.
I mean, I see people my age that are still drinking and pounding pretty hard. I'm just going, you can't be serious. I can't even imagine doing what I did in those days now. I mean, it's just,
Right.
It's incredible seeing,
especially after having pretty serious round fighting cancer for a year. I went, wait a minute. The last thing you want to do is add that into the ball.
Right. Yeah. That's
got enough on your plate. It's already falling over onto the floor. What do you want? More?
Yeah. More pain. Well, should we jump into some music?
Let's jump into a song from, I think it's from He Started to Sing. It's that party time in DC.
Oh yeah.
That's a song that Greg Matheson did the track and helped me do the track, and we wrote the song together. And Greg Matheson also did 3 songs on Livin For Love. I mean, he's he's the guy. He produced Strut for Sheena Easton.
Mm-hmm.
He was Larry Carlton's piano player for years. He's just a bad boy. One of the best organ players on the earth.
Nice.
With me.
Of course, you got to put yourself in there. Put him as a second.
There's guys out there that just run circles around my old ass. But Greg's not one of them. He plays really for the song. He's just a great songwriter and a dear friend. And when I was doing an album, I said, Greg, I need some shit. Send it to me. And the same thing happened on Party Time in DC. And
Nice.
Check it out. Just see what you think.
We're going to roll into it real quick and we'll be right back.
On the Nothing Sacred interview.
Yeah.
Once again, the power will change hands. The winners have made plans for the profit margin. Freedom always comes in last. It's gonna happen fast. Pretty soon it's gone. hesitation, sleeping with the corporation, sucking all the silver from their spoon. And we'll all have better lives. And his boys will buy the next election, sail us all in new direction, busting every union in town. It's the same old slimy situation, tons of bogus information. Here it comes, that good old trickle down. And we'll all be wondering why, when we knew, did we just let it happen? What can we do? What can we do? It's an uphill battle. It's party time in DC, and the suits are gonna have a ball. Taking it back, you and I were so easy, and we gave it all away. It's party time in DC, and the trees have just begun to fall. They're gonna cut them all down. All the lights on TV can't disguise the face of greed, and people sit together planning out our lives forever, carving out a piece for number one. Thinking no one's gonna ever doubt us, everything is right about us. All their votes have bought us Washington. They always wonder why all the poor and the homeless unhappy. They can't take the truth. They can't take the truth. It's an uphill battle. It's party time in DC, and the suits are gonna have a ball. Taking it back, you and I were so easy, and we gave it all away. It's party time in DC, and the trees have just begun to fall. They're gonna cut them all down. All the lights on TV, do we really need 'em when we're selling our freedom? It's party time in DC, and the suits are gonna have a ball. Take it all, take it back. You and I were so easy, and we gave it all away. It's party time in DC, and the trees have just begun to fall on you and me. All the lights on TV can't disguise the face of It's party time in DC, and the suits are gonna have a ball. Taking it all back. You and I were so easy, and we gave it all away. It's party time in DC, and the trees have just begun to fall. Falling down, falling down. All the lights on TV can't disguise. It's gonna take just what we need. It's party time in DC. They gotta have a little more. Gonna score, gonna take it all back. You and I were so
Party time in DC. Man, I'll tell you what, that song is ahead of its time. Was this shit going on back in the day?
It goes on every time. That's the thing. It's never stopped. It's an ageless song, unfortunately.
Well, but it's something that's like, it's very relevant, especially now. So I'm thinking like, well, was this shit always going on and we were just kids and we didn't see it? Or what was the deal there, Bill?
Well, not all the records I put out, He Started to Sing didn't do as well as some of the other ones. For some odd reason. And there's some great stuff on that record. Beautiful stuff. There's just some ass-kicking music on that record. The song He Started to Sing's a monster. Mm-hmm. But Party Time in DC, I was my kind of almost homage to Take Six. I went for some voicings, and I'm not a jazz guy by any means, but after hearing Take Six and some of those really cool voicings, and I was aware of Hi-Lo's and Singers Unlimited and Gene Perling and all, and
or like a Manhattan transfer, a little bit of it. The
kind of voice
I got from it.
Voiced out really cool, and I just kind of hunt and peck the cool notes and put it together. And I mean, Matheson, the whole beginning thing, I just wrote myself and knocked it off and appended it to the front of the other song. And Greg just went, oh, okay, there we go. That's one I don't have to worry about,
Right.
And then he played the solo in there. He was actually sick. He had a really bad cold. He came over and knocked off the solo in the middle of it.
Oh, I thought that was you doing that solo.
No, that was Greg Matheson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Matheson cut the track. He did, and we had Abraham Laboriel on bass, which we've got Abe on my new album also. He's one of the best bass players on the earth. I mean, bar none. Him and George Hawkins are my two favorites, and I got both those guys on the new album. But he played on that one and a few other things on that album, and Greg I said, Greg, I need a solo, and I ain't gonna do it. I played the rhythm guitar on it and the organ on it, but I didn't have a solo in my head. And Greg came over and just tore one off really quick. He didn't even realize he'd done it. He had a fever. He had a really bad cold or flu or something.
Well,
and he just came over and knocked it off and was like, oh God, I wish I was that good when I was that sick.
Well, no,
I can't even handle old McDonald had a farm when I'm feeling like that.
Well, I'm just talking about the subject matter of that song. Like what you're talking about is so relevant now, even.
Well, if you look at that song, if you look at it really closely, and I kind of pride myself on being able to do this, writing in lyrics, somebody on the left can look at that and think it's their song.
Yeah.
Somebody on the right can look at that and think it's their song.
So it's political neutral.
It's not neutral because it's pointing the finger, but it's not pointing the finger at anybody that are usually get the fingers pointed at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just a different way. I mean, sometimes you remember that Rolling Stone cover that had that kind of plasticky stuff, the cover, and you'd look at it from the left and it looked like one cover, and you go over and look at it from the right, it looked like something else.
Right, decal.
Probably one of them. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but it's more of it's probably one of the most expensive album covers in the history of records, But it was so cool and I would say, if you write lyrics that do that, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, you gotta straddle the line to not offend, not necessarily offend, but not disenfranchise people, so that because you want everyone to listen to the song, so you don't want to be like. Like
what do you want to do? Kick 50% of your audience out of the building?
Right, you alienate everybody.
Yeah, and I just, I'm not really into doing that, and I don't think anybody should be. And I really kind of dislike the fact that that people who don't agree with other people tend to want to cancel them.
Yeah.
And on both sides of the, believe me, this stuff happens on both sides of the aisle. It's not any one, one group of people that do it, but it's like, wait a minute, this is human beings that are just getting, you can't work anymore because I don't like what you said.
Yeah.
When you were 19 years old in college.
Guys, I hate to tell you this, but I just got prompted because I have the free Zoom account. It's going to kick us out of here in 10 minutes.
Okay, well, let's keep moving then.
Moving till it kicks us, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way with WeTransfer. You can only send so much in one round, so I'll just send a bunch of different rounds.
Yeah.
Well, we'll figure it out, I guess.
That was something I didn't realize, until because I've never done a meeting to its full potential like that.
You're in it now.
We're in the middle of the interview now, so it's all good. Anyway, so let's keep going.
All right.
Actually, let's see. So what we'll do is we'll just I don't know what the hell we'll do. Let's keep going. You got to improvise, right? You got to make things up as you go along. So I have a question for you, just in general.
Yes, sir.
About just having spent such a long time in the music industry and just seeing all the changes and different changes. A lot of people, obviously now with the Spotify and all the different ways of royalties that are now, what is your perspective on the way music industry has gone, and just in general, are you I mean, there's got to be pros and cons, I would say, especially with, you know, being able to continue to write and produce your own stuff. What is your opinion of how things have gone over your career, basically, through the music?
Well, you know, I mean, I think when downloading started to happen, Napster, that whole world, you know, Warner Brothers sued Napster, then bought them, and then sued themselves. They bought out Napster in the middle of a lawsuit against Napster, so they ended up suing themselves. Must have been an interesting courtroom, you know what I mean? But I mean, at some level, it really did pull the rug out from under it, because a lot of people didn't really care that much of the sound. So MP3s are easily shared.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if I were the record companies, then I would have gone the other way. Instead of just screaming and bitching and moaning, I'd have gone releasing stuff in 24-bit.
Yeah.
If you listen on the same system, listen to movies on the same system you listen to your records, your CDs, the movies sound better. They sound fatter. They sound bigger because they're all in 24-bit.
Yeah.
Right.
So if I were a record company, I'd have said, you can get this for free, but you can get it from us for more money than you would have paid before. But we're going to give it to you in 24-bit, and you're going to have sonically a monstrous, a much better piece of music to listen to.
You know,
same piece of music.
Speaking of that, talk a little bit about when you did this last album, because you said something in an interview that was interesting when you mastered it. What you did with you kind of threw it into analog and did a little mastering with that.
Joe Gassford he's really a kind of he's done I think all the mastering for Grateful Dead for years, and he remastered a bunch of Hendrix stuff. I think he remastered the Hendrix live at Monterey. You know, I see his name on some of these things all the time. So when it came time to master, when me and Alan Hertz, the drummer, was the mixer on the record. And Alan, I said, who should I get to master it? Because the last time I did a record, we got one guy that was too tame and another guy that wasn't. It was too wild. And he said, you know, Joe Gassford might be the guy. He's I kind of not a real Dead fan, but he really makes him sound good. So I called Joe, and he said, bring me the drive, get this stuff done, bring the drive over, and I'll fly it in. And he did. And when I went over to his house, he said, you see that? It was a gorgeous old, I think it was an Ampex half-inch 2-track. He says, if you don't mind, I'm going to fly this whole record to that. I'm going to master it from there. It's going to end up back in digital, but while I'm doing the mastering, it's going to be in an analog world. And I went, oh, talk to me. And that's one of the reasons the album sounds as good as it does.
It does.
Gassford.
It sounds so good.
He really did a great job mastering the record. And in some ways, I mean, I have a copy of a CD that he made at his house right when he was done mastering it. And it was all WAV files at 24-bit. And that's what I was listening to. And we just got the regular CD, and they're all 16-bit, the nature of CDs. And I put the CD in, and in some ways, I almost prefer the CD because it's a little more compressed, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hear Lenny Castro, the percussionist. I hear him a little better. Lenny, by the way, is a monster. He did almost the whole record. He's bad to the bone. He plays with Joe Bonamassa and Toto, and he's one of the top percussionists in LA. He was great. He said, man, bring your drive over. I'll load it up and bang it off. I said, I don't even need to be there. You just go ahead and do it. You know,
wow.
He's that kind of musician. You don't need to tell him what to do. He knows what to do. You know what I mean?
He's on it. He's got it.
Yeah, there's cats like that all the way around. You know, just do what you do, man. It's going to work. I guarantee it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have called him in the first place. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a great album. How long did it take you to get the full album complete? It's obviously been released. Like I said, it was released on the 22nd, so you can I've actually seen it on Spotify right now.
Yeah.
But how long did it take you to work on, especially with all the craziness going on last year?
Well, I really started getting into it. I had some stuff that needed some fleshing out, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I was going to do for another project, but it was mostly me anyway. So I put that on the record. I wrote the song "Livin For Love" is when Tamara said, "Bill, you got to do an artist album. Enough of this craft craziness. Be an artist for a change. It's time for you to do a solo album, and not just produce somebody's record." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
And I kind of went, you know, you might be right. I'm going to go for it. So that was kind of right at the beginning of the lockdown. You know, I think it was last February, maybe, but January, February, somewhere in there. It was when everybody was like, "Hey, I'm not going to get around too much. It doesn't seem like a altogether smart move." I'm looking at this thing, says less than a minute, guys. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh shit! Well, you know what I'll do? Let's do this. How about? Well,
you want me to just let it go off, and then I'll jump back in.
Well, either that, or I'll have to set up another Zoom meeting, which I can just. You know what? Let's do this. We'll jump into a song for the audience out there. We're gonna play less than a song.
Yes. Now, what album is this from?
Less than a song.
Yes.
That's another Greg Matheson piece that he and I co-produced, and it was on a Burn Down the Night album.
That's a great album too. That's
cool.
Awesome.
So
we'll
let's
jump into that.
Go into that, and we'll be back on the Nothing Sacred interview.
Yeah. yes, bitches.
Boy, we are back once again. Yes, we have triumphed over the machines again.
Machines Against Humanity.
We
Yes.
are, that was
Still
an
got Bill
amazing
Champlin
song,
with
of
us.
course. Bill Champlin, and of
Hey.
course that was for
for less than a
Less
song.
Less than a song off
Yeah.
the
Oh,
Burn
yeah,
Down the
by
By
Night.
the way, once again, that's the second one with a Matheson solo. I mean, Greg put the track
Yeah.
together again.
Oh, shit.
And like I say, you know, you got somebody like that around, you're swinging hard. You know what I mean?
So Bill, you were talking about, and I was thinking about this while we were getting to this through that song and listening to everything. But you said that you had write an artist song, like you were just doing collaborations, or like what is it? What do you mean? Like when you go into a new album, I guess is where I'm getting at is like, do you go into it with a certain mindset, like this album's going to sound this way because this one was really, really bluesy and just really jazzy, and do you have like a theme for albums? Like how do you go into going into a new album like
I just start making music, and the music kind of starts showing me, you know, this is starting to feel a certain way. This is starting to do something. And it's starting to take a, you know, it's kind of start to take on its own texture. And I try to follow where that is taking me. So I don't start out thinking I'm going to do anything, but just, well, I'm going to make a demo. I'm going to make a demo, and then maybe you know, somebody was telling me Stevie Wonder had tracks, and 24 tracks all over the place of just demos of just a drum loop, a piano part, and a vocal. Put it away, and at some point when I'm looking for tunes, I'll look through all of this stuff and find the ones that I need to flesh out.
Wow, man. So really, you don't fight the vibe. You just kind of let it roll. Is what you're saying.
I try to let it roll. I mean, you know, I hate to go to the '60s. I said, but going with the flow is it's worked for me before, and it always has. And I have a tendency sometimes to get, and my wife Tamara calls me on this every once in a while. You're getting a little craft-ish. Not crafty, but you're kind of showing off your ability to arrange and stack vocals up, and it's, you know, where's the lead singer in all this? So on this record, I kind of chose not to sing leads the same day as I sang backgrounds, because believe me, it's two different hats.
Yeah,
you know. And if I sang a lead when I was singing the backgrounds, it would just be track 7 of the background. You go, still can't find him. So I'm trying to, and this time, you know, lyrically, it was the same thing. I went through a whole lot of stuff for a while. You know, I lost my son, Brad, you know, in 15.
That's a crazy story too, man. Because
yeah, I mean,
you had cancer. You got diagnosed.
I was diagnosed the day before, and I had been, you know, with him quite a bit. For the 2 years in front of this, because he had esophageal cancer, which is that's a bitch. That one's a bitch. My prostate cancer was nothing compared to what he had to go through. I mean,
I can only imagine.
It's just pretty horrible. You know, you take a drop of water and it hits that tumor down near your stomach, and you go right through the roof. Ugh. So he had, you know, we really became pretty close friends during that period of time, and then it eventually took him out. You know, but I found out that it took him out the day after I was diagnosed.
That's
bad
crazy.
Week.
Oh shit!
But it kind of changed. It kind of changed my viewpoint of the world. I mean, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. You know, what I cared about, that list got shorter, and what I didn't care about, that list got longer.
Yeah.
Although I usually say, well, you know, my list of the shit I gave a fuck about was short, and the shit I gave a fuck about, I give a shit about, it got longer. You know, that I don't care.
Well, and that's sometimes. But you talk about kicking somebody when they're down. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, it was just the roughest of years, and it just was going crazy, and you know, people going, well, you know, what do you think of Chicago? It's like, you know, none of this shit means anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point in the game, it's really easy for me just to go, you know, all of this is all a bunch of bullshit, and everything's a bunch of bullshit except family, friends, music.
Yeah,
that's pretty much got it for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Having the people around you that you trust, that you love, and knowing that they love you and will trust, and you can trust them and they can trust you, and also having that artistic purpose, because obviously you're I mean, like I said, an album in 2021 just came out really, really good. So having that like you said, what else matters besides that?
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
Well, you know, at some level,
what I'm learning as well.
I read somewhere or heard somewhere, and somebody said, if it's not personal, it's not art. And I went, well, if there was ever a time to put your heart and soul into the lyric, into the vocal, into the performance, into the hard work of it, and even into the craft of it, you know, knowing how to get the drums to quantize a certain way, the drum tracks, you know, because I mean, almost the whole record, I did fake drums and then replaced them with real guys. You know what I mean? Makes a giant difference to have a real guy there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I really do set up the writing over the grooves that I put down on the fake drums. So I find just the amount of swing factor that I want per song and that kind of thing. And I play all the bass and stuff. So I mean, this time around, I really cared more as an artist. I said, let's try to make this thing really focus forward. So it's all focused on what the song is about, what the song's saying, and the same old thing I've always tried to be focused on: groove like a dog.
Yeah. Groove. Nick Buzz does groove. Do you when you have an idea for a song, does the music usually come to you first, and then you fill in with like a lyrical melody, or do you have like a melody for the lyrics first? Because when I tend to write stuff, I mean, it seems like it comes. Like I almost like hear the lyrics as a piano piece while I'm, you know, or guitar or something like that, and then I can change it to lyrics. Like, does that make sense? Like,
that's really cool. That's great. I mean, if you can kind of cross collateralize it in a weird, so that might not be the right word for it, but yeah, you get because sometimes a melody says, you know, if you get a melody that's you don't write, hey, let's go have some ice cream now. You know, I mean, sometimes the music's telling you there's a mood.
Yeah.
Try to write around that mood. So with me, I usually write the music first. And then on a lot of stuff, I'll get Tamara into it because she'll hear me playing it, and she's really great at melodies, and she's awesome at lyrics. And she finds premises that are really good. But on, like, for instance, with Reason to Believe, I mean, she and I both wrote the lyrics and melodies together. But I realized at some point in the game when I was writing down maybe the 7th or 8th draft of it, the final draft, just, you know, typing it so I could read it because my handwriting, not good. And so, I mean, I just realized, man, this song's about gratitude. I didn't even realize I was writing it that way. So some of those kind of things happen with my songs that I'll write something. I go, I'm not sure exactly what it means, but it rhymes. It fits the thing. The melody's great. It's got a groove to it. What's going on? And 3 or 4 months later, I'm going, oh my God, what did I write? Look what I wrote. Look what I said, you know? And I think there's a bit of that in this thing. There's places, even in what should be the funky songs, there's places like The Truth Has Begun. There's places where the lyric is really deep. You know, and I usually think of that song as just being, wow, this thing is just smoking, going forward like nobody's business.
That's wow.
Yeah, there's some great lyrics on the album. Like one of my favorite lyrics is you can't, something about you can't rhyme because the poetry was stolen.
Oh, that's Livin For Love.
Yeah, Livin For Love. Yeah. That's a great song as well. But you can't rhyme when the poetry is stolen. Like, it's great.
You know, actually, speaking of lyrics and collaborations and songs and things, you did a song with Jason Sheff, you know, and it was called My Heart Needs to Know, or My Heart Wants to Know.
I think that was on the maybe the tribute to Jeff Beccaro album. Does that sound familiar to you?
It was something because he
quite a few years back. I think I was just singing on that one.
Wondering.
Jason and I have got a duet on this album. The fourth song called Show Me.
Oh.
And he's playing bass on it, and it's a duet. It's like, you know, so if anybody's interested in hearing that Chicago thing, it's there. We got that there too.
Well, you know what? And see, here's the thing, because I wanted to know if that song was about somebody who died. It sounds like somebody lost a parent or something from the lyrics.
I don't think I wrote that one with Jason. I mean, believe me, I've sung with him for years. We did a whole album in Japan of just a cappella stuff.
Oh, wow.
So we had to lay down the piano bed with vocals. And it was Joseph, me and Jason did most of it. And Bobby Kimball came in and added some some thump to it all. You know, it's Kimball's he's got
Right.
that power, man.
Put the percussion in it, you mean?
No,
Yeah,
Bobby
all the
Kimball's-
percussion we did, you know, the bass drum was slamming yourself in the chest and going, boop,
Right.
boop, you know, I mean, like beatbox stuff.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and that's something Joe Williams was just really good at. I mean, and you know, they did two of them. I only did the first one, but we had a ball with it. We, you know, it was an award-winning record in Japan.
Just for reference, Brett, Bobby Kimball was the singer of Toto who sang the high part on Rosanna.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
He also sang their very first hit, "Hold the Line."
Hold the line.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Hold the Line. Yeah, that's a great song. I love that song.
Really, but then he left Toto and did his stuff on his own and did some other things. But he's an actually like a.
Well, he left for like 14, 15, 16 years, and then he came back
Yeah.
for a couple of years, and then left again. So, I mean, it's just you know, sometimes there's an open door thing going on, you know, with those guys, especially. But
Right.
they've, like I say, that's one band has never, ever done a bad note on record.
Yeah.
Some people can say, "Oh, that's not very good." Bullshit. It's good.
Yeah, whoever says that, I think because they had a rip with Rolling Stone, I guess, in the early 80s, I guess.
Well, Rolling Stone immediately, they
Yeah.
just looked at their names and realized these guys are session guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, rather than a bunch of guys that grew up together in high school, which
Yeah,
actually they were.
They were, and all of you guys were. It seems like there was like a big gang of people that were just
like
in
a
the
clique or
background.
something.
Yeah.
They were just waiting for their chance to shine, and you guys all shine, which is pretty awesome as well.
Well, I got Bobby on a handful. You know, before the first Toto album was out, he was kind of scraping a little bit. You know, there wasn't a whole lot of money there. I got him on a handful of background vocals. I mean, we did one where we did actually a song of mine that we used to do with the Sons. We had I was going to go sing the song with Michael McDonald, and this was before my first solo album came out. And Bobby, that day I was in the studio singing something on my record with me and Bobby. And I said, I got to get going. I got to do this thing with Michael. And he said, God, can I come with you? I'd just love to meet him. Next thing you know, the three of us were singing. The next thing you know, the three of us were going around doing background vocals all over the place.
Oh, man.
Because we was, you know, Michael, the Doobies were on a kind of a long break at that point of the game. He was kind of hanging. I said, hey, man, you feel like going to work, go and knock off dates? And he said, shit, yeah, man, I'm in. Just to hang.
Huh. You know, I'm gonna ask a real quick question, crazy, just out of cuff. Have you ever done anything with Kenny Loggins?
Oh yeah, there's a song I have called "Take It Uptown." You ever heard the song? You can hear it. You can hear it on Yacht Rock a lot. And Kenny
Yacht Rock.
Well, Yacht Rock. That's what they call it. That's what Toto and Kenny and all that Yacht Rock.
Called Yacht Rock.
Yacht Rock is awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's a good station.
Kenny and I wrote the song. Kenny co-produced it with David Foster, and it's really a cool shuffle. We got Tom Scott playing on it. You know, the Cats were on it. Luke was on it. Let me see. Luke was on it. I played guitar and some keyboard. Yeah, I played keyboard on it. I played piano on it. David played Rhodes. Really a cool song, butt kicking song.
And it's called Take
Me Uptown.
Take It Uptown.
Take It Uptown.
And me and Kenny wrote the song for my first album.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. Hold it. Oh, not the first album, for my second album, for the Runaway album.
Oh,
Runaway album, which was '81, which had a couple of smaller. You were trying to get off the ground there with that was right when you were getting into Chicago, and that was with like Sarah and I think Tonight were those two songs that were.
Yeah, both of those were actually on my Runaway album, but I did an album before that with David Foster, where one of the added songs we were going to cut and just do this one last song was After the Love Is Gone, and somehow it Maurice White heard it and he went, if Bill will agree to not release it on his record, we'll release it. And I said yes. And he wanted 2 or 3 other songs off my album. I should have said yes to those, but I said yes to the one, and I was very that was one of my better moves.
So he was a fan, man. He was a fan.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah. And I sang. Maurice and I were doing some backgrounds on Denise Williams' "When Love Comes Calling" album. So we sang together on that, and he was an amazing musician, amazing singer, good drummer. He played drums on a lot of the stuff that they had.
A lot of this was while you were in Chicago, which is interesting because I know Peter Cetera wanted to make his move. He said something about, I want to be a solo artist, but I want to do Chicago too. And they were kind of like, nah, fuck you. We're not doing that. Whereas it seems like with you, they let you kind of do a little more with your solo career.
I didn't bother to tell anybody. I just did it.
So you're like, fuck it, I'm not even
Well, you know,
asking.
I had the Runaway album out. That was my solo album then at the time that David Foster and I did. That was when I ran into Danny Seraphin, the drummer from Chicago, and we started working together a little bit. We wrote a song together, and at one point, Danny called and he said, "Do you think David Foster would be a good producer for us? Because he's just coming on. He hasn't done a whole lot. He's just coming around the corner. And he seems like he's pretty good." I said, "Yeah, you probably have to throw away almost everything you got and start over. But with David starting over, it goes fast. You know, it's not like it's going to take you out years and years to write
because
it."
Chicago did have a drastically different sound.
Oh yeah.
Going from
Well, you know, for what was going on at the time, I mean, a lot of people go, "Oh man, you lost your soul, you lost your stuff." For what was going on at the time, if you wanted to get on the radio, that was the only way we could do it. And you know, Peter and David were that was a great combination of people. They were both at the top of their game.
I don't think about losing your soul. I think it's changing difference, because a song like "Once in a Lifetime" from Chicago 17 is a great it's a great song. It's got great production.
They're all good songs.
Sounds
I think that's a Jim Pankow tune. I mean, I can't remember all of them. Hey, I did one. It was weird that David was writing with Lionel Richie, and he gave me this cassette with Lionel singing, and he was singing so funky, he sounded like Stevie Wonder. And you know, David said, "Can you write the words on this?" So I wrote the words, and Lionel was just doing the album after the Commodores, and they wanted it to be a kind of a white-black crossover record, and this was just too good for him. You know, this is just too black. You know, this producer, this is not the record that we're making. You know, and so we had this song that David and Lionel started that I got into and wrote the lyrics for it, most of the lyrics. And at some point, you know, Lionel says, it's just too black for me. And David said, "I got the guy." He gave it to me, and I put it up. We put it on the Chicago 17 album. I remember the road manager said, "Hey, I got some roughs from the album, but there's one song in there. I think it was a mistake. I don't know who it is." And it was me singing this song. It's called "Please Hold On." It's just funky, you know. It's like an R&B song, really.
Now, you did have your moment in terms of I mean, "Look Away" and stuff. You know, with your big. Did you ever feel like a rock star at any point? You know, like with because obviously you were a lead singer, especially on the '88 album. Yeah. Did you ever feel like you were just like, "Yeah, I'm the lead singer. I'm
the front man now."
I'm the front man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fat chance of that. But but you know, I mean, I think, you know, I don't even want to go into that. You know.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I was kind of full of myself when "Look Away" was as big a hit as it was. And all this
dude, it's the number one hit in the country, man. At the time,
it was kicking pretty hard. And there was a song before that called "I Don't Want to Live Without Your Love" that was pretty badass too. That was kicking. Yeah. So I had like 3 songs in a row that were just really going on. And the producer, Ron Nevison, I got to hand it to him. He says, "I want to use this guy's voice. Let's get out of the tenor range for a minute and let's go for somebody that has a different groove," you know. So I mean, it was just sort of by hook and crook it ended up happening. But what was really cool about it is I'm cruising along. I got a #1 record. I'm full of myself like nobody's business. And my daughter's down the hall, and you got to walk past her bedroom. She was about 17, maybe 18, maybe at the latest, you know, or at the oldest. And she had been listening to the first Sons album on her stereo in her room for about 4 or 5 days. And as I'm walking to the door, she kind of opens up the door and she says, "You know something, Dad? You used to be great." And man, that caught my attention like crazy. and you know, I mean, within a couple days, I got a call from Greg Matheson and says, "Hey man, you want to let's do a solo album for you. I got a deal in Japan. We can make this happen and get into it." And I went, "I'm in. Count me in." You know, you know, and we got in. We started playing some funky ass shit and made it really go. You know,
nice, man. Well, you know, let's talk about the new album as far as where people can get it, and if people want to link up with you or whatever, or, you know,
absolutely,
they can get all that.
It's out digitally, and it's out on Imagine Records. It looks like Imogen Records, but it's pronounced Imagine. IMAGEN. And the people there are great. They're really, really good pals. We were kind of wondering what's going on. They're digging in like crazy, especially with Shauna, and it's all happening. we're swinging hard, and they've got it digitally everywhere. You know, Spotify and Pandora, and you know, they've got downloads things, they got streaming things, they got the whole thing they got covered, and they got it pretty much around the world except Japan. I'm going to release the record in Japan on Sony, because actually Sony has CWF, and it seemed like a better call to you know, to get, they've already got, you know, 2 really pretty good records from CWF, and Sony's done pretty well with them. They had the second one, and they just bought the first one from Pony Canyon. So I thought that may be a good place for me to release a record, is where I'm already in the ball game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they've been really cool too. Everybody's been really great with this record. But the digital is available everywhere. I mean, pretty much everywhere.
Yep.
If you're one of those getting to be rarer and rarer people that like CDs, I'm doing it at BillChamplin.com. Pretty simple, pretty easy.
Cool. Bill Champlin.
And I'll probably stuff the envelope and send it out. You know what I mean?
Nice. So Bill Champlin actually touched the CD that you're going to be getting.
Yeah, and we got, I mean, Tamara working. Well, we got him. You know, you can pay a little more and he'll sign it. You know.
Hey,
but the CD cover is so. We ended up getting kind of sort of shiny. You know what I mean? So a Sharpie doesn't work on it. So I open it up, take out the booklet, sign the booklet, take out the other side, sign the CD, so it's double signed. You know.
Nice. So the shrink wrap.
The shrink wrap's not going to help. Where can I sign this? Every place I tried to sign one, it was like, it just, you know, it beat it up like, you know, water on the top of a duck's back. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't happening. You know, so we finally found a place to sign it, and it's really, really a good album. I mean, sometimes people say, well, you know, there's an awful lot of deep stuff on it, and there's a lot of really deep stuff on it. But and the title "Livin For Love" kind of tells you that it might be all ballads. Not by a long shot.
No.
Very heavily blues influenced.
We're not talking like a sunny like, hi, this is the easy listening radio.
No, not happening.
No.
In other words, it's not
I don't get musical wallpaper.
It's rich, and even the songs that you might think, oh, this sounds like the run of a mill. There's always like a little like musical catch in or a musical intro where they kind of. There's a lot of good stuff on there. So there's a lot of stuff we can continue to talk about. And your voice is amazing.
Some of it on some of that album is. I read this on Facebook and I just had to learn it. It said, "It's so funky. It move in next door. Your lawn dies."
I like it.
That is, man. It doesn't get much funkier than that. I kind of knew, man, that's funkier than a 3-day-old Band-Aid, but that other one with the lawn thing, that just not.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah,
it's so funky. It moved in and killed your lawn.
And your lawn dies.
So funky, it put on women's secret, and it told on them.
Oh damn!
Anyway, so let's wrap it up.
No, hold it, Cruz. You got to hit me with that again. What was that?
It's so funky. If you put on women's secret deodorant, it would tell on you.
You're going to be here if you watch any of these next interviews. You're going to hear that one again. Well, I'm gonna rip that from you like crazy.
That's awesome.
Great, dude. That's awesome. Just if anybody asks you where you got it from, you know.
Yeah.
Just gotta, make sure you give them recognition. You know how it goes.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're gonna go into my favorite song. One of my favorites, because there's a couple of them. Like I said, there's gonna be a toss up between this song and "Trust." The Trust Has Begun. The Truth Has Begun. Right. But this song is the second song off the album, and I was like, oh man, that first song was great. And then I heard this, and I know your wife is singing in the background as well, I believe.
Oh yeah,
those awesome background
vocals all over the record.
But there's
co-wrote probably half of it.
Yeah, there's some definitely specific though, and that's like some back and forth going on with the vocals in that song in terms of back and like the back
trading bars kind of thing.
Yeah, it's really cool. So check it out. It's called Especially Me off the new album Livin For Love, which is out now. Thanks so much, Billy.
Pick it up.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me. I mean, it's really have fun, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll do it again, man. We'll do it again.
You guys, I mean, if you keep having fun like this, you know you're going to be arrested soon. It's just the way it's going to happen.
We haven't been arrested yet, so it's good, I guess.
Good. That means they don't know where your ass is.
Well, we've done a lot of interviews with police officers too, so I think we got some friends in high places.
Hang
Well,
on with us.
I got some high friends in places too.
I bet you do.
The
Anyway.
Jews hit me with ones that, man, that guy was so high he could go duck hunting with a fork.
Hang out with us for a few minutes after. We'll be back with us, Billy, and then we're gonna end this stuff here though. But this has been the Nothing Sacred interview with Bill Champlin. I am Cruise Control,
And I'm Maxwell Silverhammer, and that's the story there. Bitches.
See you next time.
To tell you what you already know. Here comes that same old overused friend. I told you so. How'd you do what you did when you did it? When every one of your friends said to quit it. You make a million bad moves every minute, every hour, every day. Make me do what is true. When you wanted to go, when you thought we were falling apart, you'd tell me so. Though you say everything's copacetic, when you feel like a flame gonna get it, every time you get the urge to spread it, carry you away. Make believe, oh so good. Just don't blame them on me. You stick to your reason. You're as stubborn as a mule. The cards that you're dealing from a deck of 53.